Well, December started out with some pretty cold temperatures, but then right after the holidays, January showed up and we were really pretty pleasant almost all month. In fact, it was real unusual that I could go out and put some fencing in like you watched last week. Well, the forecast for last weekend was snow to come and again bitter colds. We got down to 20 below. But with that forecast, I thought I'm going to go out and cut on my wood pile a little bit before all this really shows up again. I really like burning wood heat. We burn wood both in the house and here at the shop, and so I cut a lot of wood. I'm a fan of this Husqvarna saw. It's a Rancher 465 extra torque. I have a 16-inch bar, a 20-inch bar, and a 24-inch bar. 24-inch is what I'm using on this wood pile because I have some pretty hefty sized logs. When I'm serious about cutting firewood, I like my Husqvarna. But here in the shop and for my trim work around the apartment building and around the house, I've really become a fan of this Makita saw. I got it in the 14-inch. It runs two 5-amp-hour 18-volt batteries on it. It's an amazing little saw. It runs for really quite a while. And it's just a real favorite when I'm doing this brushwork around the apartment that I need to trim back. Well, since it's too cold to be working outside, I'm going to do some work inside the apartment this weekend as well. Well, I am in a second floor apartment, which would be the northeast corner of this building. And you remember a couple weeks ago, I took some paneling off of the stairwell that goes down the back end into the kitchen, most likely the service entrance to the upper floor here. Well, if you remember, coming up those stairs, a number of you commented that you saw remnants of what might have been old doorways. And you're correct. Well, you probably remember as you come up the stairs, I took paneling off of this wall. Well, none of you noticed this opening right here. This was a doorway from all indications. Then there is a short section, and then right next to it is evidence where there was a second doorway. Let's go back inside. So this enters into the kitchen of an apartment as it stands now. But I took this paneling off of this wall. When I felt this was pretty spongy, so I was suspicious that there wasn't any type of plaster or sheetrock behind it, and when I took it off, that showed to be true. Well, right here is evidence of one door, which as you come up to the top of the stairs would have been the second door. I think the first door is still hiding underneath this paneling. I'm going to take off the cover to this outlet and pull this off, and I think we're going to find that the second door is right here, about so. But one interesting thing is you'll notice how tall these doors are. What we have is a standard 81-inch door. This has got to be 7.5 foot. I don't have a tape measure with me, but that is a tall door. That's what they used to be. Oh, this is actually fastened to the paneling and not the stud work itself. So I'm gonna maybe cut around this if I can see. Yep, you can see this is attached just to the paneling itself. I think I'm gonna take and cut around that perhaps. So the wiring goes into the wall just right above these. I'm gonna come up here where I'm well above and see if I can't get this opened up. There was another door put in here. There's some wiring that was brought down to feed this outlet. But this was a door, then a separation, and then a separate door. This door was more of a standard height. It sure appears to be. So these were meant to fasten just to this little plywood here. This one too. These cords here look to me like they were TV antenna, perhaps. They're just cut off. They go back loosely into the wall here. This is good Romex. I'm going to break this apart, and I think we can get this off and see just how these were fastened. That's all this was tightened up against, was these two little pieces of tin. Folded over electrical box, old style metal box. So this is what the television coax came down through. So these were the little metal strips bent over the edge that pulled up against the paneling. Now you who are in the electrical trade, perhaps you know what these are. They have a little insignia on them. It almost looks like a triangle within two circles. I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick that up. So you can see where they punch through. Main power line comes down into this box, and then they run another box, punch through the lath here and plaster they've got behind this. I have another outlet here. You can see behind that it stays on this plane. I'm going to take and cut that out. Again, fastened the same way for this 1/4 inch paneling. So it's nice to see good Romex. That was good. So this paneling goes on around, this is exterior wall, all on around to all these exterior walls. I'm not going to take those off yet. I'll do that when I get into replacing these main windows. Since these were going to be sitting empty all winter, I took 3-foot wide visqueen 4mm, and I've covered up all these windows. So come summertime when we warm up a little bit and I can open these up to do that, is this paneling I'm sure is going to go underneath this molding trim. So I'll pull all that off at the same time. I have a little break here. I might pull this corner off. I could come around to here maybe. So I'm kind of suspecting that this is all going to be lath plaster on top of the brickwork. Just my suspicion. You know what they say, curiosity kills the cat? Well, I'm kind of curious. So it's as I kind of suspected. This is original, but I'm not going to proceed anymore with this until we get into the window project. Then I'll do the exterior walls where all the windows are at. So right now I'm just kind of curious here on these walls. Let me show you what I saw on the floor plan when I took out the carpeting here. So again, back to these 2 doors that are evidenced in the hallway. One here, one here. It also shows up in the floor. So this is the partition between the 2 doors. There's evidence here that there was a short stub wall here, a wall here, and a wall here. So this, I think, was the entry into one hotel room. And the door here was entry into the next hotel room. The second hotel room had a closet. The first hotel room that came in through this door came into the main room, and then for it, I think perhaps this was the closet for the first hotel room. You can see the zigzag of where the walls used to be. Closet for hotel room, we're say number 1. Closet for hotel room, possibly number 2. So it has been my speculation from some time that each of these side windows represented a hotel room. And this area here has the window over what is now the alley, probably was back then. But this window is on the northeast side. One window correlates, I think, to this hotel room. So as we come in from this side, again, I think this room here with a closet off to the side would have represented a hotel room correlating with this window. Now off to my left, what is now the kitchen of this apartment most likely has another split in here somewhere, I am guessing. I don't know that because I would have to pull up this kitchen floor to verify that, but we can see indications of that in the plaster work in the hallway. So my speculation is that door number 3, what's that remind you of? Price is Right, huh? This door number 3 is probably an original door. I think all this trim work is original. And if we come down to the left, there's indication that there was door number 4 right here. I don't know if you can see that in the reflection of the wall. So my speculation is there would have been a partition wall in here somewhere, possibly correlating with the wall that is now the back end of this kitchen. I'm guessing somewhere in here, possibly where that wall is now, could have been the split to another apartment right here. There's reasons why I think that is, and it has to do with the back side of this wall. See, the back side of this wall has also been paneled. You can see it's been furred out, how spongy it is. I have had this section of paneling off in the past because it correlates and gives me access to the sink drain. But I haven't torn this off yet. I will do that here shortly. But my thought is this is probably hotel number 4, counting from the back forward. I have no idea how they were numbered initially, probably from the front back. But if we go down that hall, again, I think there is evidence that this was a door entryway here as well. Now this is the main electrical panel that was put in that now services the 4 upstairs apartments, and you can see it was inspected here. So evidence of this doorway. We come down here, there's evidence that there was another doorway here. I'd say it looks like there's another doorway here. And then the next one, this one is a little more difficult to determine. I'm thinking it looks possibly right in here. This one is a tough one to tell. What is now a current entry door, which this would be possibly number 8. A little zigzag in the hall. Then on down, I've got all this paneling off. There's a clear indication there was a door here. And then we have our last door down on the end, which is now a doorway into the living room of the apartment. So it looks like this would be our door number 10. And this would be on the northern side of this hotel. On the other side, of course, we have our first door here. Over the stairways, there wouldn't be a partition. It's my thinking possibly that there were hotel rooms on this side that used double windows, perhaps more to accommodate families instead of single individuals. So the distance between this door and the door to the right at the top of the stairs would actually accommodate 2 windows. The third window would be in sync with this door, number 2. And again, I have to kind of look at reflections down the wall. But there's indication from the patchwork here, this would be a door number 3. Then there's also indication that there was a door here, number 4. Then we have a door here that is still existing, which should have been door number 5. It's still original trim. There's indication here of a door number 6. There's indication here that there was a door number 7. And I don't see any break in here. It's possible here. It's possible, but then we have what is now an existing door here. So this is now the last door on the hallway at the time being, and this is where the zigzag comes in because we go over the stairs. But there's all indication that this was a door here as well. I think this has been sheetrocked off. This would be the top of the door that was once underneath the paneling. So I'm guessing from just judging where the doors used to be on what would be the southern side, I think there's possibly 9 hotel rooms. So just going down, judging from the plaster repair work in the hallway, it looks like there were 10 hotel rooms on the north side and possibly 9 on the south side. And it looks like on the south side there were hotels that seemed to have double windows. Perhaps they were more to accommodate families. Pure speculation from this point of view. You know, as I walk up and down this hallway, I've noticed these old door openings for a number of years. And when I was contemplating doing this remodel, I figured I would just do some freehand plaster work over top of these and try to hide them even better than they have been, which hasn't been all that good. But the more, I've been thinking about this, I like the idea of maybe putting in false doors where all these other doors used to be. They would be non-functional, of course. But the idea of being able to walk down this hallway and see 19 doors where all these hotel rooms used to be kind of intrigues me. You might give me some of your thoughts on what you think. That's kind of an intriguing thought. But it's fun to see is how the layout of some of these hotels were. Thanks for following along.